Willie D Live.
What's up, family? It looks like we have yet another unnecessary fatal shooting at the hands of the police. This time in New Jersey. This time, 25-year-old Victoria Lee. On the night of the shooting, her brother Chris made 2 phone calls to 911 requesting an ambulance, emphasizing her mental state and the presence of a small pocket knife she used for opening packages. The first call was to report that his sister was experiencing a mental health crisis and would like an ambulance to take her to a local hospital. After he was informed that a police officer would be accompanying the medics, he asked for police not to come, but was told by the dispatcher that police presence was required for the medic's safety, according to an audio recording of the 911 call released by the Attorney General's office. Now check this out, family. Fearing for his sister's life and realizing that he had made a crucial mistake, Chris called 911 for a second time to cancel the call and request that police not come, but was told by the dispatcher that that was not possible in mental health calls and that the police would arrive soon. The call operator asked Chris why he wants to cancel the call, and he responded that his sister had a knife, but that she isn't threatening anybody, according to the audio. She's just holding the knife, he said, adding that it was a foldable knife. So let's speed up and get down to the nitty-gritty. Body cam footage shows a Fort Lee police officer arriving at the family's apartment and Victoria's brother Chris opening the door. The officer asks if he is the person dealing with the mental health crisis and the one with the knife, to which Chris said that it was his sister. The door is opened again by a woman identified by the Attorney General's office as Victoria's mother, who was holding a barking dog. Victoria appears in the background and says to close the effing door while reaching over her mother and closing the door. Shortly after, at least 4 other officers arrive. Now here's where it gets nasty. The initial officer yells that he will break the door down, to which someone identified by the Attorney General's office as Victoria Lee yells, "Go ahead, I'll stab you in the effing neck." And that, fam, I do believe sealed her fate, because that gave the police an excuse to use lethal force, and it heightened their aggression. Next thing you know, you hear one officer asking the other officers who's willing to use lethal force and who's willing to use non-lethal, to which 2 officers at least said they were willing to use lethal force. One of those officers being the officer who actually killed her. The strangest thing about this ordeal, this 911 call for a mental health crisis expert to come out, is a mental health expert was not on the scene. The police came, I saw the police, but there was no mental health crisis expert intervention whatsoever. Don't know how this is gonna go, fam. Usually they rule in favor of the police, they don't indict them. This is one of them situations where the woman lunged at the police. They say she had a knife. They yelled, "Put down the knife," although the camera didn't show a knife in her hand at the time that she was shot or after she was shot. They was just, "Put down the knife." You know, they kind of trained to do that. They trained to say stuff like that. "Put down the knife, put down the gun," even if you don't have one. "Put down the gun, put down the knife, put down the gun." But in any event, fam, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I think that the family will settle the case really fast. It'll be a lawsuit. They're gonna pay. They typically, you know how they do, fam, when it comes to Asians, you know, they pretty proactive in making sure that they get justice swiftly. You know, there will not have to really be protests and stuff like that. Right now, there are some press conferences, and this is not to shade the Asian community. They're doing what they're supposed to do. This is more like to shade the police departments all over America, the way that they treat Black folks when things like this happen. We have to protest, because if we don't, we may not get justice at all. But they will get justice. I do believe that these guys will get a slap on the wrist. They will be able to say that she lunged at them. She had a water jug in her hand, they say. Reminds you of the Sonja Massey situation but she wasn't coming at the police. She didn't lunge at the police. She was standing there actually cowering, you know, trying to get out of the way of an uncivilized mutt. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.